Hello everyone, in this video we are going to be taking a look at the thickest thighs that I've ever seen on a Miku. Of course we are talking about Figma SP-161 Racing Miku 2023. Jumping right into it, let's take a look at the box. Here is the front of the box. Unlike most Figma, there is no window where you can see the figure. However, like most recent Racing Miku, we do get a picture of the figure on a quite nice and simple background. We can also see her little support bird here. At the back of the box, we have the figure in various poses and showcases. Here is the top of the box, here is the bottom of the box, here is the left, and here is the right. So I haven't actually opened this figure yet, and I guess this will be more of an unboxing and review. Inside the box, you have your standard Figma packaging with plastic tray to protect the figure. And there is also another tray underneath with her flag and stand base. There's also another plastic packaging with an extra wrist joint, a plug for the stand, as well as some alternate hands and the stand arm. Here is the figure itself. At first glance, what we can see is the Miku colored hair along with her white outfit. There are some gold and red and dark brown accents. Here is the back of the figure where we can see a hole for the Figma stand, which is on her cape, shirt, jacket thing. Going down to the bottom of the figure, we can see her red heels. Around her outfit, we can also see some brands and logos such as Good Smile Racing on her chest and arms, as well as Krypton on the side of her leg. Her hat also sports the Good Smile logo. So her left earpiece just fell off, which is a little bit disappointing. I wasn't really touching it, don't know why it came off, but I guess it's nothing a little glue can't fix. For accessories, we have an alternate faceplate. Apart from the default cheering face with open mouth, we have a smiling face as well, which looks slightly to her left. Unfortunately, there does seem to be a little black dot on the sclera of my alternate faceplate. Thankfully, it's not too big and you can't really see it from afar. The faceplate can be changed by removing the hat and then the front hair. However, do be careful because the front hair does feel a little bit fragile. You can also display her without her hat, but there will be a hole in her hair. We also have 7 alternate hands, which makes 9 hands total, or 4 pairs and 1 odd hand. For hands, we have the default open hand. We have a pair of closed fists. We have a pair of holding hands for the flag. We have some pointers, and lastly we have another holding hand, except this one is enclosed, so you'll need to remove the bottom part of the flag and then you can slide it in. There is also the Good Smile Racing flag in red, and of course the team support bird. If you want to count them, there is also the Figma bag as well as the Figma stand. The stand is larger than your average Figma stand, and this also allows for the bird to plug into the stand as well. As you can see, we don't really get too much with this Figma, however I guess the design does make up for that a little bit. So Figmas aren't actually to scale, but generally they do fit a 1/12 scale quite well. Miku is about 15 centimeters tall, and here she is with some of my other figures. Here she is next to Racing Miku 2022, Shinjuku Jalta, SHF Freerun, Snail Shell Bunny Girl Eileen, 30 Minute Sisters Rishetta, Megami Device Azra Ninetails, Nikkei Stands, and Gacha Mem. She's a bit taller than your standard Figma, around the same height as a standard Mecha Musume kit, but not as tall as Snail Shell's bunny girl. Overall, I think she'll fit in quite well with most collections. In terms of articulation, Miku has quite standard Figma movement, but do be careful of her hair because once again it does feel a little bit fragile. Her hat also keeps coming off after we change the faceplate, which is a little bit annoying. Anyway, her head turns all the way around. Can tilt side to side. Her twin tails of course can also move and swivel. Her ribbons spin as well. She can look up about this much and down about this much. Her little sleeve cape things can be moved as well so they don't get in the way when you want to pose her a certain way. Her arms go up about this much and of course can be rotated. She does have a bicep swivel and can bend her arms about this much. Her wrist moves pretty much how you would expect it to, and she can also move her cuff as well. How you position the cuff will also affect the wrist movement. She does have very good upper body movement, but there will of course be gaps at the back. Her upper body is a little bit loose for my liking. I'm not sure if it's just my figure, but when I was posing her with the flag, she did tend to tilt side to side as well. She also has an ab crunch, giving even more torso or waist movement. Her skirt is made of softish plastic, which means her legs can move just a little bit more. The back, however, is hard plastic. Her legs can also be pulled out for more range of motion, but may look a bit strange depending on the angle. She can kick forward about this much and bend her leg back about this much. She can't normally do the splits due to her thick thighs as well as accessories. She does have a thigh swivel along with a thigh pivot, which I haven't really seen in any Figmas before. If you get creative with her articulation, you will be able to get her in more poses. Just be careful that you don't force the movement too much. Her knees bend back this far, and can rotate as well. Her feet can move backwards and forwards, however there isn't really any sideways movement. There is also some toe movement. So one thing I always look for when it comes to figures is whether they can stand on their own and how well they can balance. Personally, I don't really like using stands that much because most of my figures do sit or stand right in front of me on my desk. If you have them displayed a little further away on a shelf or something, I think stands would be acceptable. Miku is able to stand relatively well given her little feet and her big hair. However, if you change her pose a lot, especially in the legs or lower body, her joints may loosen up over time and she may not be able to stand as well on her own. If you plan to pose her with a flag, I think this is not really an issue because you should just use the stand anyway. Overall, I was a bit conflicted about this figure. But seriously though. I say was because it seemed to keep falling apart and felt quite fragile. In hindsight, I think delicate is a better word to use. There are many small and thin pieces which you need to be careful of when handling the figure. And I think how the earpiece is attached to the front hair is a bit silly, as you would risk breaking it every time you change the faceplate. I wouldn't be surprised if the other side fell off too. For a figure like this, it's best to just pose it once and not mess around with it too much. I paid about 13,000 yen for this figure, or around $90 US, which is a bit more expensive than your average Figma. At this price point, it is a special release and a bit of a premium figure. Now, I'm not a hardcore Miku fan or anything like that, but I do very much like the design and overall aesthetic. If you're a Miku fan, a racing fan, or just like thick thighs, I think it's definitely worth picking up. Assuming that I've just had bad luck with quality control, and as long as you don't mind the minimal accessories and slightly steeper price point. One more thing, however, to keep in mind is that racing Mikus don't generally get a re-release, so as time goes on, they may get harder and harder to find. I bought this first-hand since it just released, however my 2022 Miku, I did pick up second-hand in Japan. I have seen other racing Mikus around as well, but it does depend on your luck, and of course the price will vary. So what are your thoughts on 2023's racing Miku? Would you pick her up? Do you already have her? Let me know down below. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this unboxing, review, and showcase. If you did, please do leave a like and subscribe so that you can keep up to date with my future videos. Take care, have a good one, and I hope to see you again next time.